Alrighty, welcome back to Weenie Trades. So in this video, I'm going to be giving a technical analysis for AMC, SPCE, SQ, TSLA, Tesla, and along with just a little short trading recap. So let's get right into it. Where are these stocks going? Well, everybody's asking me. AMC, nice good bull day today. As you can see, look at this little pivot right here at about 12. We hit 12, we sold off from 12, we break up. We run into a heavy area of resistance. We sell off from that resistance. Where do we come back to? Well, we come back to 12. 12 never broke down. So today was a really big bullish day for AMC. So where's AMC moving forward? Well, what I like to do is I really do like to mark my gaps because they're really important pain points in my opinion. So right here, this day, AMC gapped down massively from about 1375, 1380, and we gapped down, like all the way down into the mid 12s. So that's a really big gap down. So that's going to be a big area of a bull bear battle. So if we get above that 1380, we could potentially pop bullish. Say we're closing hourly above it, 4 hours above it. The longer we're above that level, the more likely AMC is to break up. And if AMC gets above that 1380, just call it 14. AMC gets above 14, maybe then AMC could test something like 16, and then maybe something like 1775. However, if everybody's super bullish, that's something to keep an eye out for. If everybody's super bullish, then usually the bearish scenario can happen. So AMC could start to roll over. So if we go to a smaller time frame like the hourly, if AMC, starts to break this, bull flag to the downside, call it, 1334, then AMC might want to come down and test something like 1285, these kind of tops from last week. So if AMC, starts to roll over, look for something like that, and then maybe we could get a trend change or we can get a lower high and lower low. Otherwise, if AMC breaks that 14, look for a little bit bigger of a move if we can really get some good volume and continuation. And so that's AMC moving forward. Next up, we got SPCE, Virgin Galactic, and SPCE had a really big gap up today, and we gapped up and we sold off just a little bit. And where do we sell off to? Well, look at this pivot right there. We break down, we hit it, we sold off from it. Okay, if we get over that level, now it can become a floor to be used. So AMC, that bottom red line, represented near the low of the day. And actually, I tried to short SPCE earlier. I shorted, right about 24.40 with a stop loss just above 24.50. Quick little stop out, no big deal. But SPCE is really starting to get some good momentum to the upside because we held that little support right there from that recent pivot. And we closed above the gap, 26.66. It leads me to believe that there might be a little bit more room to go to the upside on SPCE just by the way the chart looks so far. So if SPCE gets above 27, then we can test this next resistance of about, 28-ish, 28.50, call it 29 maybe. There's going to be a lot of sellers at 30. A lot of people are talking about SPCE 30. So if they're talking about SPCE 30, you might want to be a seller in front of that 30 at 29. But if we get above that 29, then, you can test out that 30. And then maybe in an extreme squeeze, SPCE could get up to like 32 this week. That would be a pretty big squeeze. However, anything is possible. Otherwise, if we start to sell off, I'm expecting just consolidation just because of the way this day looks like. And then maybe that would still be bullish if we could consolidate and pop up. Otherwise, if we start to reclaim today's low, then we might be looking at a gap fill and maybe something like 22 would be some support. And that would be if SPCE broke about 24. So keep an eye out for 24 on the downside and 27 on the upside as those binary breakpoints, in my opinion. SQ had a positive news catalyst today, and SQ broke this critical resistance of about 209 intraday. So towards the end of the day, we got a nice good squeeze on SQ and we started to pinch. Look for SQ to potentially move a little bit higher based off the way the chart looks and maybe test something like 215 upcoming in the midweek. And this is it considering the SPY is bullish, which I'll go over in a bit. And look for SQ, if it can break 215, to potentially test 220 this week. After that, we'll see what resistance levels develop, and maybe we can get a higher low and a higher high trend change, and maybe test something like 230, this breakdown candle area. And maybe if we're really lucky, something like 240. After that, again, I'll need to see new trend changes, but 220 looks to be in store this week for SQ. Nice, good flag pop at the end of the day. Traded SQ, super fun day trading SQ. Let's see if we can get a little bit of continuation to the upside because we broke this resistance right here. Do you see this? Look, top 1, top 2, top 3, top 4. Boom, we busted today. Now we should get a little bit of legs. There's a little bit of volume. Looks like there could be a MACD cross to the upside. Time will tell whether if this was just a false breakout and we snap back within the range and maybe break the lower end of the range, or if we can hold that 209 area and continue on upwards for SQ. So leaning bullish, but we'll see if what kind of trends we'll have at Weenie Trades Live. The next breakdown of the day will be Tesla, as always. Tesla, nice good bull day, 4.4%. The Qs were on fire today, the QQQ, the NASDAQ ETF. And I actually traded Google a lot today. Google was a really good revenue trade today. You know, nice good little breakouts, really good pennant patterns from earlier in the day. Looking for Google to test 2400, but back to Tesla. Google is just a strong name as part of the Qs. Tesla, really nice good price action all day, you know. We did the dip and rip, and most stocks looked like this in the market. You know, I'll just switch to like a 30-minute time frame. And look, 30-minute bull flag into continuation. You know, we move higher, we pinch, we pinch, we pinch. We got our nice good flag pattern. Boom. Tesla breaks out over 600 and gets some really good follow through all the way up to, you know, the high of the day of like 613, 614. And then at the end of the day, I was kind of watching out for a rising wedge. I kind of pointed it out. I was like, oh, watch out on Tesla. Everybody was asking me at 614, do we sell Tesla? I was like, well, you can do whatever you want, but keep an eye out on this rising wedge. We're making higher highs, but the highs are starting to get a little bit weaker, and boom, we start to break down. We break down, we back tested it, and then boom, you can sell right there. You put your stop loss above that high, and then boom, you get a drop, bear flag into a drop. Looking still for Tesla to be bullish though into the coming weeks, so or into the end of the week, because we closed above a big resistance of that 600. It's the first daily close above 600. If Tesla can hold 600, look for Tesla to test that 620 as we talked about in the game plan live stream. And then if it can hold 620, look for it to test something like 630. Tesla likes to move in whole dollar increments. And that would be this gap that was just barely not filled, I believe. Just barely not filled. Not going to be a big part of resistance. If there's a really good squeeze, we can find a lot of confluence and resistance at this like 650, 656 area. And that would coincide with the flat top resistance and a trend line. So that could be a great opportunity to sell and put your stop loss above there, probably with some put verticals or something like that, or just take profits on your long if you happen to catch Tesla long up to this level. So keep an eye out for Tesla. That 600 is going to be important. If Tesla starts to sell off, it has tons of space. Hopefully it can stay above 580. If it gets beneath 580, then Tesla, that could be the flush point for Tesla to possibly head lower into the coming week. On the game plan live stream, I said that if SPY could get above 418, then we could probably test something like 420. Well, look at that. We got above 418. That represents this blue line. Nice, good, you know, flag patterns pop, flag pattern pop, consolidation, bigger bull flag into a pop. Look at the high of the day, 420.32, and then we start to roll over as profit takers come in. At the end of the day, there was a lot of fear in the chat, but I was looking at the chart, I was like, you know, SPY has tons of space for a higher low on the, you know, the hourly time frame, on the 30-minute time frame. That just looked like a dip buy, honestly, to me. We have our flag, we popped the flag, we back tested the flag, and then look, SPY's pushing up after hours. But it's still leaning bullish on SPY. We'll see if SPY is going to, you know, test this breakdown area at 421.50. That's going to be a major area. And then maybe the top end of the range, 422.15. After that, it's blue sky breakout. It depends on what the futures do overnight and how we open up tomorrow. If SPY is selling into tomorrow, well, now 418 might be the dip buy. It's just see how his resistance. Now, okay, we've gotten through it. Now it could be the dip buy. So looking out for 418, and really SPY has tons of space. I mean, it's pretty bullish as long as we're above, you know, 414 for quite a while. So we might be actually leaving the range if we continue on upwards. Otherwise, if we get beneath 414, we might just come back inside the chop zone and we'll have to reevaluate. Really good fun trades on SPY today. I did some in-out spreads, buying the 418 call, selling the 419 call. As you can see, the 418 call made some good P&L, but since I'm hedged by selling the 419 call, that removes some of that P&L. But oh well, it was a very peaceful trade for $55 on SPY. Not that the P&L matters, it's more so the entries and exits. And the reason I entered in those calls was because, hey, we got above 418. You can see me buying them as SPY breaks above 418. I talked about it on Sunday, so I'm just going to go ahead and go through with that plan. And that plan definitely paid off in more than one area, as you'll see coming up. ELY was a really good revenue trade as I go into the trade recap right now. On the daily time frame, we're just being really bullish. We're popping this pennant pattern to the upside. We're making higher highs, all-time highs. The stock is, breaking out. It's getting upgraded. And we had this really good pennant pattern right here on the 5-minute time frame. We dipped at the bottom of the demand zone. We moved higher. We pinch, chart vibration. We kind of just go sideways. We're correcting through time. And then boom, I'm buying ELY just over 34, ELY is, that is, at 34.80. Boom, stop loss just underneath 34, I believe was 74, 34.74. So a nice good, 16 cent stop loss, and boom, nice good breakout on ELY. I peel some profits off in front of 35, peel some profits off at 35.20, and then went flat once we started to break, 35.19. So really good revenue trade on ELY off of that beautiful flag pop. It was a nice and peaceful trade. Not a lot of pullbacks, just boom, we break out, volume starts to increase. Once we start really popping and everybody's got their eyes on it, that's where I'm starting to take profits and sell. So that was one of the better trades today. Let's get into the next one. The next trade of the day was on Boeing, and I said I really like Boeing on the private live stream, or the public live stream. I like Boeing for continuation higher to test 240, 245 later in the week. Well, Boeing, we started to dip down, and I start going long on Boeing just at about 234.50. I buy a little bit of more Boeing at 234 with a stop loss underneath 232. Well, that stop loss held, but I botched it. We got a really good rally, and we started to form this little base right here at about 233.50. Well, I stopped out right on this low wick, and unfortunately was not able to capitalize on Boeing because my average is about 234.50 and I'm stopping out at 233.50, and it's decent size. So Boeing, really good move on the day, but net negative on Boeing. I am still swinging in a debit spread, a wide debit spread. I'm buying the 237.50 call, but I'm looking to take profits at 245, so I'm going to sell the 245 strike call. Now what that did was that it gave me about $100 back, and now I'm risking about $200, and I can potentially turn that into $750 if Boeing is above 245 by the end of the week. So really interesting trade coming on here. So, the max profit is about $550 on this trade, and it's looking to potentially be feasible as I'm bullish Boeing. If Boeing gets over today's high, 238.50, look for 239, 240, 241. And we'll see how it gets into that level, but maybe Boeing can get a little bit of legs going and maybe test something like 246. Otherwise, if Boeing starts to get underneath 235, we may start to come down and test this 232 area. And if not, we might come all the way down to fill the gap, and that would be in a bearish market scenario. So keep an eye out on Boeing moving forward. Lastly, my biggest expense trade of the day was on PATH, P-A-T-H. And it sucks because it was a really good pattern. We had a nice good bull flag right here that started to pop. I go long over 85, and then we pop the high of the day. I go add over 85.50, and then boom, we back test the forward breakout area, lower high. I place my stop order just underneath, 84.74, and boom, get stopped out of PATH right there. Annoying expense trade, especially with a pretty decent size, minus $127 on PATH. Buying the flag break, adding, and then getting stopped out. I was a little bit too aggressive on the ads and was expecting immediate follow through right away. Oh well, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Net, small little green day. Just a little bit of choppiness. I need to widen up my stops. It's kind of like I'm just breathing all over my stocks as soon as I get in. I need to give it some space. I need to keep it 6 feet apart for my stocks. And once I can do that, then we can capitalize and break out and get some really, really good green days. So hopefully you enjoyed the recap. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell. And what are you watching into the upcoming week? Thanks for tuning in. See ya.